to race day preview here from Larkhill, from the Queen's Building to be exact, here at Larkhill on Friday evening. The Friday before the big day on Sunday of the Coronation Gold Cup. It's one of Larkhill's biggest meetings of the season, and it is the second classic race of the point-to-point season. So of course, huge deal being made of this race, and as you can see, we have the giant trophy behind us. Very fortunate to have it here. And I'm also joined on this panel by my very able guests in Stan Sheppard, we have a flying Stan Sheppard, we have a knowledgeable Andrew Doyle, and the very helpful clerk of a course, Suzie Vickery, who we'll be talking to later about all the goings, about everything to do with Larkhill basically. So of course we have to first of all acknowledge the big race of the day, the Coronation Gold Cup, which is the men's open. And I guess the first horse we have to mention is the Biddick and Barber horse of Bucks Bond. Lots of bees going on there, and he's got a great chance on Sunday to go through again for this great partnership of Biddick and Barber. So Stan, going on to you.
Yep.
So he came second last time to Impact Area.
Yep.
He ran a very decent race there, all admittedly, considering he had 3 years off. So how would you rate his chances this time around?
I'd say very good. He may have needed it the last day, and Impact Area, not a bad horse on his day and wasn't beaten by far. Bucks Bond did hit a bit of a flat spot just after 2 out, but Biddick got him going again. He seemed to run on very well.
That's it. Do you think it is sort of the Biddick factor with horses like that
Definitely helps.
That's it. And having all that time off, I mean, he probably did need the run, looking back at the race now then, after having all of that time off. And so we'll just have to see if he has come on from that run in time. So yeah, what would your opinion be of that, Andrew?
Yeah, like, I suppose he is a funny character, and point and has looked to sweeten him up a bit, and it wouldn't surprise me if headgear was fitted on him again, because he has ran in everything, blinkers, cheek pieces, and yeah, like, he stays well, he does jump well, so coming from the yard he's coming from, he'll be thereabouts.
So you can imagine anything different. And going on to the horse that he did beat last time, Impact Area, he's improved beyond belief in this year and the past couple of seasons. And of course beating Bucks Bond last time here and was so ready in the finish. And he also beat Third Chance, who was also in this race in third that day. And great result for Louis Muspratt and Harriet Waite. And so then of course to win again. So do you think he should go off favouritism really?
On all form, really, he should nearly go off favourite. It's a very competitive race. You've got Temple Braden, Third Chance, Real Milan, and Divine Intervention, who's won it before. On form, he should be favourite, but there's all the other factors, whether ground, other horses being fresher than he is, if he had a hard race the last day. But on form, he should go off favourite.
That's it, and it's going to have to be a good horse to go past him this time around, because again, won last time out at Larkhill Impact Area. There could be a battle between the greys, but like you said, there is also Temple Braden in it, who is my tip of this race, who was absolutely fantastic when winning last time out, to put the time when he fell actually in the race with Impact Area and Bucks Bond in it, and in my personal opinion, he fell at the last, and I thought he was going to go on to win. I thought he was travelling the best, and it was just looked a clumsy error really. And do you find that when you're riding around Larkhill, that sort of last fence, I do see lots of horses tipping over slightly at the last, and do you think that's all that horse did that time?
Yeah, it's the same anyway. You've just gone 3 miles on good soft grounds, the horse is always going to be tired, and it takes a lot less a mistake to bring them down as if it was the first, because they're more on their toes, be able to get a leg out for you. But no, it's no surprise a few tip up at the last compared to other fences really.
That's it. And actually mentioning the last fence, I have to go to Suzie here, because I know that the last fence has been moved, has it, Suzie?
The last fence has been moved. It got a bit messy around the takeoff area at the last meeting, and so we've moved it about 25-30 yards down the course towards the finish line, which will give the horses a lot more time to line themselves up correctly for this fence. And I would say now that the last fence is never a new fence. We are very, very careful at Larkhill that the last fence is as forgiving as we can make it under the rules, because we are aware of how tired the horses are.
That's it. Well, Temple Braden will definitely be happy to hear that. But in saying about Temple Braden, after he did fall the last time, he the next time out when he won, hardly put a foot wrong, and was so good, beating Real Milan, who is in this race this time around. And that was on the 23rd of January. And I know that Stan knows a fair amount about Royal Milan. So
yeah, well, a friend of mine called Jack Jones rides him every day. Rides him when he's not at uni, and he's only had 2 rides, and he's getting better all the time. The horse will be getting fitter with every run. He does a very good job with his parents with it, looking after it at home. But I think might just lack sharpness on his first run, and Jack was still very inexperienced, but he gave a very good ride the last day. If being really picky, perhaps kicked a bit too early and got tired, but I think he should run a very good race again this time.
That's it. Hopefully learn the lessons from last time then of kicking early. That's it. And another horse that we of course have to mention is Divine Intervention, who's 12 years old now, who's been a great servant for Francesca Moller, and he's hunter chased his last 2 runs at Stratford and Wincanton. Before that, one at Lower Matching and Oversford. I mean, he's got every credential in the book, that horse, doesn't he?
Yeah, like he won it 4 years ago. He won it 4 years ago, and if he get back to that form, he'd nearly win it again. As any horse says, won it before and is coming back, fresh, well, jumps well, you should be alright.
Yeah, that's it. And would you agree with that, Andrew, that a horse that has proven itself, like matter-defying age, can still come back and act well
like
on the
course
day?
form and is hard to get away from. But I think if Warren lines up at the weekend, I think it'd be very hard to beat. He's the class horse of the race. He's chased home on the fringe. He was placed in an entry Fox Hunters, and he was a classy track recruit before that. And I think that kind of form, it's head and shoulders above anything else in the race. And I think if he lines up fit and well, I'd imagine this would be a stepping stone to the festivals. And I couldn't look past him, to be honest.
No, you're very right. They have to agree. The class act would have to be worn for the Whaley Cohen team. And he's won the Fox Hunters at Aintree, second to Tartan Snow the next year, and then last year unfortunately did fall at the first, had a very, very heavy fall. But do you think that would sort of be the reason why he's coming back pointing now?
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, but he was with Brian Hamilton in Ireland, and after his fall in Aintree, Declan Lavery rode him in Punchestown when he was behind on the fringe, and to jump around Punchestown, he obviously has no ill effects from the fall in Aintree, and he was so good over them the year before. I'd imagine they just took him over here to train themselves, but I'd imagine it's as good a place to start him off as opposed to keeping him in Ireland and going to Leopardstown tomorrow to take on the fringe. It's this kind of race would suit him better, and I'd imagine if he does line up, he is the class horse. And I think like Bucks Bond and those track form wouldn't match up to anything like Warren. So I'd be very surprised if a fit and wound up Warren turned up tomorrow. I'd imagine he wouldn't get beat.
That's true. If you're able to chase over the likes of On the Fringe, or able to even just compete with the likes of On the Fringe, then you must be doing pretty well. And if you come over here just to point on these circuits, So lads, I have to ask you your tips for this race. So Stan, your tip for the Coronation Cup?
I'd go each way, Real Milan.
Good one. And Andrew?
I'd go for Warren.
Yeah, straight up for Warren. And Susie, you have to pick one out of the hat.
I'd go for Impact Area.
Go with traditional grey. It'll be a very popular winner anyway if he does win. So that covers us for the Coronation Cup. We're just going to run through the rest of the card just because there are a whole host of other races, great races going on this weekend. And it starts with the club members race. And so, it actually starts with the King's Troop race. So Susie, would you like to tell us about that, because you'd be the most in the know about this race?
Well, the King's Troop race is run, the conditions are that they have to be gun carriage horses, and that they have to be gun carriage, or the men who ride the horses during the ceremonial duties. And these horses will be doing a ceremonial duty tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. They will then be shipped down here Saturday afternoon, and Sunday morning they will go out and race 2 mile, 4 furlong round Larkhill Racecourse, which I think is pretty spectacular, frankly, and let's hope that they do really, really well.
You see the jumping as well?
They are indeed jumping, and the people riding them are either the gun crews or the officers. The officers are not permitted to bring their chargers out. These horses have to be on the gun teams. That's the rule.
It's fantastic idea. And it's 11:15 that race. Have I got that right?
It is 11:15.
11:15. So make sure you get here early to witness that, because it will be a spectacle. It will be amazing.
I hasten to add, they don't do it with the gun carriages.
They could be in the Coronation Cup, they can carry around a gun carriage behind them.
Yes.
But moving on to the first race of the pointings aspect of the card is the club members race. And I have to say, one of my soft spots of the pointing season so far has to be Premier Portrait, who's in this race. And he was so unlucky last time at Chipley to be disqualified. Gus Leveson just unfortunately omitting to not weighing in after the race, even though he'd won the race by 1 length to Kirkley, beating Kirkley for the 3rd time this season. And but before that, he won 3 races, 2 at Weybridge, 1 at Black Forest, and I really like this horse. And what would you guys think of him?
No, he's definitely proven this year, and it's probably a 2-horse race really between him and the Woolacott horse, Steeltown. He's rated £3 higher here, and I think it'd be between those two if Steeltown turns up and doesn't go anywhere else.
That's it, yeah, Steeltown. Of course, he was 3rd at Newton Abbot behind Dancing Olga and April and a Hunter Chase, and won handsomely at Cotley before in a 3-run affair. He was 1-3 favourite, so he should have really won, but he did, and did it absolutely perfectly. And then every other time last year running, he ran so respectively. So and like you say, like the Woolacotts, they'll have them sorted, won't they? Have them fit as anything for this.
They would, yeah. He's a solid horse. He jumps well, he stays. He's coming from a good yard, so yeah, he'd be thereabouts. But it's hard to beat a horse in form, and Premier Portrait is on a roll, so it'd be hard to look past him. But Steeltown would probably be the one to give him a run forward. Capellanos was a decent hurdler up north as well, and he brings a bit of track form down to it. So it just depends on how he takes to jumping fences and if he stays. But he might be one that could run all right.
That's it, yeah. I was going to say about Capellanos, he's a very, very interesting entry for this race. He was a 6-time winner under rules last season, trained by Brian Ellison, ridden by all the best jockeys, Dickie Johnson, everybody, and took on horses such as Dowland, Cruz Linen, Dropout Joe, Might Enter Yours. The list never ends with the horses he took on. So obviously before this season, his previous trainers thought a lot of him. And now he's with the Ollie Greenall team, and so they'll keep that ball running. But yeah, his last he just never seemed to get into the race when he was 4th on dead ground back in January, just up north up in Yorkshire. And the dead ground, can you forgive a horse for maybe not performing at the best if the ground is dead?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's not so much if it's dead, if it's not just whatever they don't, if they don't prefer. Like a small filly might like top of the ground, so it's not such hard work.
Yeah.
But if you've got a big horse who you might find it, if the ground's softer, everything else will find it hard work, and he'll find it a little bit easier to go through.
Yeah.
But dead ground never really helps a horse. And he's by Monjou. He's been winning over 2.5. He might struggle to get the trip on dead ground, and if the ground turns up top of the ground on Sunday, depending on how much rain we get tomorrow, I think he could also go close.
That's it, Susie. The ground's unlikely to be dead, really, for him, is it?
The ground is unlikely to be dead. No, well, you've got a lot of reasonably fresh racing ground here, and we are very, very careful not to deaden our ground. We do work quite hard at it.
Yes.
But I fear it may be getting softer.
With the rain tomorrow.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah, that's it. Even we've moved the out rails.
We moved the bends. Those do get very badly damaged because of the movement of the horses. So those have all been moved. The lower bend, or the bottom bend, what we call the bottom bend, has been moved dramatically inwards to clear them off the lines of the racing previously, because that ground is already cut to give them all a good chance.
Yeah.
And we've moved fence 5, as we said, but we haven't moved any of the other fences because they are all still raceable.
That's it. Well, we definitely, as always at Lark Hill, we'll get the best racing conditions possible. And another horse I have to mention in this club members is another very unexposed one, is Bold Cuffs. He was twice a winner for Mark Prescott on the flat, placed over hurdles for Colin Tizard, and he was running actually in the same race that you were in, Stan, down at Cockerburgh in January, and he was boldly running out in front of Katie Lyons, and just unfortunately in seats over the circuit to go. But I'd say he would be my one to watch in this race. And horse we haven't actually mentioned in this race yet is Japek for the Woolacott team again. Japek, it's a great run last time, 2nd to Blinding Lights up at Chipley Park. And no disgrace in that, because Blinding Lights himself is just a phenomenal horse, isn't he? Yeah. So what would you have to say about Japek based on last season and those runs so far?
Yeah, Japek, he is good form. He was 2nd last time out, and I'd imagine with the Woolacotts they'll choose which one they'll run. They won't run both against each other, I'd imagine, and he does bring good form. He's got £9 to find with Steeltown, who's the top rated horse in the race, but With the rest of them, he doesn't have a whole lot to find. He's 3 pounds below Capellanis and the like, so they'll choose which one they'll run. But he would run his race if he lined up.
Definitely proven on last season anyway, and being slow to get started this season, Sheppard. But if you go on how he ran last season, he will have every chance between him and Premier Portrait, it looks like at the moment. So I'm going Premier Portrait for this race because I've got a massive soft spot for him. Stan?
I'm going to have to be boring and go Premier Portrait as well.
Very good. Andrew?
I'll go Steel Town if he lines up.
Yep. And Suzie, just chuck on in.
I'd go Steel Town probably.
Yep, very well. Well, thank you. So that's that with the club members race then. So we move on to the restricted. And we've got a whole host of horses who have already won one race this season. We've got the likes of Black Banjo, Mystery Edition, Overland Flyer, what's his name? All a lot of them have got proven form around Larkhill as well. So Stan, we've got to go to you first of all, Black Banjo really, and might as well just let you run loose with that.
Yeah, no, Black Banjo, Dad got him over from Ireland, he gave him a few months off, brought him back, he ran at Barbary Castle first time out over 2.5, ran very well, finished second. So a horse called Mission Arcadine, then went to Cheltenham to the sales. And then he won at Chazzy Corbett over 2.5 again. And then first time out over 3 miles at Cockburn, he fell at the third, unfortunately. But I think he might go well as long as I think the ground won't be too much of a bother to him. It depends how quick we go. Because if we go quick, I think he struggles with his jumping.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think he might go quite well.
Yeah. So sort of race tactics wise, what would you do? Say if you knew that pace would affect a horse's jumping.
I'd definitely be holding that.
Yeah.
Definitely, just let him think about it. And I'd say we'll go a good gallop because Billy went a good gallop on Overland Flyer when that one here, and Martin McIntyre, if they run what's its name, that tends to go a good gallop as well. So I won't be up there taking them on that way.
And when you won it, Chaddersley, I did notice you held onto his head sort of as long as you possibly could. Is that just tactics you have to have for him, or is that just how
not so much. The ground that day was bottomless, and then coming down the hill into 2 out of Chazzy Corbett, I didn't want to let him go out on his head, and if he'd fallen over on the other side of the fence, I'd have kicked myself and let him go. And I just tried to keep hold of it, fill it up, and gave it a kick after that.
So you would fancy his chances, would you then?
I think he'll run well.
Yeah. Run well and run a genuine race anyway. At least that's good. Moving on to other horses that he's come up against, Overland Flyer. Lovely looking horse by Westerner again for the Biddick and Barber team, and he won here in January, beating Tom Barton, who runs in a later race today, and Paul's Con very convincingly by 12 lengths. And Paul's Con, who we've known has gone on to win a maiden 2 weeks ago at Chipley, so that form of that race is standing up very highly. And second to Katie's Massini and Honeycott. Wow, you can't go too far wrong with that sort of combination, can you, Andrew?
No, and he could be the one horse. He's got the profile to progress, and he could be a smart horse on the rules in time, and he will end up joining Paul's next season. And he's owned by Colin Donlan, a big supporter of Paul's, and he's a really good looking son of Westerner. And he couldn't do a whole lot more than win the way he did here last day. And I know Will was happy with him, and Jack likes him, so little bit of natural improvement. He should take a lot of beating. He gets the weight allowance from a few of the horses, and I think he'd be a hard horse to beat.
Yeah.
He's open to a lot of improvement, and
so everything going up for him then at the moment. Mystery Edition has to have another chance in this as well. Obviously winner of the Open Maiden on the first day for the Hawker and Harris team. And we know that he jumps well and he manages to stay strong gallop, so he'll definitely suit here at Larkhill. So Mystery Edition, I'm really looking forward to seeing him running again, because I think he'll run a cracker again. And of course, I think finally we've got to mention this race is what's his name himself, who I think his jumping's quite questionable. Sound controversial. I think I would question his jumping, especially around somewhere like Larkhill. We did for his first ever run of his pointing career, and fell last time at Chipley, just got in too tight and could not figure his way out of it. And how do you feel when you're riding a horse that hasn't got the best form, makes clumsy errors and can't really get themselves out of trouble, and say if they've fallen twice, what are you thinking going into a race riding a horse like that?
You've got to think positively, because if you think you're going to fall, you probably will. Just hold your neck strap and lean back. That's what I tend to do.
Dig the heels in. That's it. And Andrew, do you think sort of a horse, after falling twice, do you think that that's sort of a trait of their running then, or do you think they can improve themselves?
some horses remember it, but he'd have been schooled in the interim, and I suppose if he didn't school well, he wouldn't line up. But I'd imagine he'd have pleased him at home, and he would, some horses do remember it, and it knocks their confidence. But he's fallen and then he's ran solid races, and he's probably unlucky to fall the last day. As he said, he just got in tight, and I'd say he'd be all right. He's obviously schooled well if they're going to line up, and you wouldn't enter around a track like here if you were worried about his jumping, because it does take plenty of jumping around here. So.
That's it, and in saying that, he has actually won around here, so he proves he can jump when he does get it all together. He won his maiden so impressively around here in January. So I think as long as everything stays together, he should definitely be competitive at least.
Some horses like him, they jump better. They see a bigger fence, they jump better. Small fences sometimes gets in the way of horses, and you go around Chipley, wouldn't be as big as around here, and you go to Chipley, you tip up, and then you jump around here. And you could just do it easily. Yeah, it could just be bigger fences, might just bring about a bit more improvement in them.
Wake them up a little bit or anything. That's it. So, well, for the restricted, I'm going to go with the safe option of Overland Flyer. Sorry, Stan. I hope you're going for Black Banjo.
I have to, so I'll go with Black Banjo.
I'll go with Overland Flyer.
Yep.
And I'll go for Black Banjo.
Very biased right now. They bribed her with a coffee afterwards, that's why. So moving on to the Ladies Open as our next race, and a horse that I really struggled to pronounce its name, Sagalirik, if I'm getting that right. Sagalirik, I think, I can't really see past now. 12-year-old for Angela Rucker, and yeah, even though I can't pronounce the name, watched all his races back, and I just think he's an absolute great old horse and clever jumper, has never run a bad race, and won last time out in November at Cottenham at the first meeting of the season in the ladies, and doesn't show any signs of waning with his age. So do you think sort of in the ladies, lads, do you think like age doesn't really matter that much, considering how fast they go? It's a bit of a hard ask.
It's ladies is a little bit, they carry a stone less, so it's probably a bit easier on him. You see a horse like Master Medic at 15, third here a couple of weeks ago, holding his form, and you quite often see the elder statesmen running in these races. There's a lot of 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, so probably is a bit easier on him. And yeah, as you say, his form probably brings the best form into the race. So he'd be definitely have a favourite's chance.
That's it, yeah. I can't see too much past him, but if I had to say another horse to throw into the mix, is another horse that I'm struggling to pronounce still. Akadu. Yeah, for the Barber team again, and Bryony Frost riding him, and did pull up at Chaddersley in December when he was 5-2 favourite, and just never looked to be interested in that race that day. Made mistakes and was pulled up very early, so can't have been feeling himself that day. And I personally feel that you can allow horses just one dud run. I don't know how anyone else feels about that. I don't know if I'm just being sympathetic, but I think every horse can be allowed just at least one.
It was his first run back from a layoff, so you'd forgive him that. And he'd be a better horse on better ground. We had him in a couple of seasons ago. He ran through the summer for us in Newton Abbot and places like that. So I think better ground, second run after a layoff, probably. I'd be willing to forgive him his first run. He had solid form the year before, so you'd be willing to forget last time.
That's it. And Sam, do you feel the same?
There's always reasons for why a horse can run badly, but you could expect it to run well, and it couldn't the next day as well. And it surprised you when you're not expecting it. Horses always have their reasons, so there's no reason why you shouldn't run a good race on the weekend.
That's it, and we can't forget he was such a good horse in the 2013-14 seasons, beating like of Biley Bear and Boomtown Cat, so the quality is definitely there in that horse, and whether or not that race affected him in any way, we'll have to wait and see on Sunday. But I'm going with the very obvious choice of Sagalirik. And Sam, what are you thinking in that race?
I think in that race I'll go with Master Medic to run well again, on slightly better ground, or the same ground, but I'd expect him to run well again.
Yeah.
I'd agree, Sagalarik.
And I'll go for Master Medic, he's a big favourite of mine.
Is the old hand on this course. Great. Right, moving then on to, skip me a race, we are on to the Open Maiden 4 and 5-year-olds. Really hard to tell anything of this because nothing really has any form at all. It's pretty much a mystery, chucking all things into hat. The only horse with any real form is Duns River for Biddick and Barber again. Nice looking grey horse and second on debut here to what's his name. He was beaten by 30 lengths by what's his name, but we've seen what he's gone on to do and how good he's been. But he did beat a very decent horse in Manila Selfie that day. So I do think that form, you can tell something from that at least.
Yeah, no, I think he's the only one with form in the race, like you said. And when it got beat by the what's its name, I fell at the last when I was going to be second, and I think that's a very nice horse. That one here at the last meeting, I think Duns River's going to be the one to beat because they'll have the experience over the other ones. The Tom Lacey horses, they're being very well trained, obviously, but they're not both going to turn up, and they might not even turn up. So Duns River's definitely the one to fancy in that race today.
Yeah, just based on form alone, and as Stan alluded to just then about the Tom Lacey runners, I mean, we know all about him getting horses ready at such a young age, getting them into pointing to then hopefully sell them on to run under rules on the track. And he's got the two in this, Boagrius, who I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Serrano de Savola, both 4-year-olds, and as I said, both of them won't run. Can't imagine both of them running anyway. But Andrew, what do you think of sort of the setup that Tom Lacey's got and how like sort of forward their horses will be for a race like this?
Yeah, he leaves no stone unturned. Those horses will have done plenty, and a first time out horse coming from a yard like that wouldn't worry me. I know the Biddick horse, the Barbara horse will have experience and will be able to ride a race accordingly, but you wouldn't be worried with a Lacey horse first time out, and it wouldn't bother me. They'll know their job, they'll jump, they'll be ready, and he does a proper job on them, so it'd be just the same as coming from a Barbara horse. It's a proper outfit, and it wouldn't worry me.
That's it, no. I can't really say too much more on the other end just because I don't really know much about them, but we'll soon find out on Sunday. So I'm just going to go with obvious choice, only one with form, Duns River.
Well, what I forgot to mention is if it runs, I might be riding the Ed Walker horse, and their horses always jump well, and I think I'd fancy him.
That's it, Polly and Ed always school theirs over anything basically to make sure that they'll jump on the day. So you'll have a nice fun ride hopefully in that then.
Hopefully, as long as he turns up.
That's it, if he hopefully turns up. Andrew?
I'll go Boa Guris. He's got a nice pedigree and from a proper yard. If he turns up, I'll go for him.
That's it. And Susie?
Duns River, I think.
Yeah, go for form, go with what we know. That's it. And moving on to our final race of the day is the Open Maiden, 6-year-olds and up. A whole host of entries in this, and guess that the obvious place to start is Swinkum Scorchio for Ed Walker and Will Biddick to ride. He ran amazingly here at Lark Hill on the 23rd of January, came second to their Yarsu, and last season he was third at Bishop's Court, fifth at Lark Hill. He seems a very mature 6-year-old, and I don't think he can do too much wrong, to be honest with you. What do you think of him, Stan?
No, I know they think he's a very nice horse at home. He's got first time on tongue strap if he runs on the weekend. I think he might take a lot of beating if that has the effect like it did on the horse that I beat him on the last meeting.
I'd say because he ran a blind away your horse last time, so it
yeah,
must have been a decent
and that was
horse
first time tongue strap out as well, and he was only 4 lengths behind me. So if it improves his horse like it improved mine that day, I think he'll be very hard to beat.
That's it, no. And one to take him on, I think, is an Erin Delineate. And it was no match really for Impact Area last time, but didn't really expect to be. And she just got very tired and very sort of clumsy with her jumping at the end. But taking on a horse like Impact Area, I mean, we were saying earlier what a good chance he has in the Coronation Gold Cup. So you can't really just measure her up to that result that day. But she had a good 4 flashed here against Swinkum Scorchio. And actually beat Swinkum Scorchio on the line, but you can't really read too much in that. That was a long time ago, and they did finish together. But Andrew, what would you sort of say about those two, bearing in mind that they did finish together a year ago, and do you think sort of one has gone on from then?
Yeah, Swinkum Scorchio, I would say would have improved more. He wouldn't have had as much experience as the Mayor would have when they met the last day, and I'd say he's open to more improvement, especially with a tongue tie on now as well, just to try and bring about improvement. But I quite like the Ibster if he lines up. I think he comes from a good yard, and Shantus get better as they get older, so I think he might be one that could improve.
Yeah, so he would be your each way money at the moment. And another horse have to mention who looks greatly impressive is Tom Barton, who's second to Overland Flyer here at Larkhill in January. And yep, again, he just beat Paul's Con just on the line as Paul's Con was closing in on him. And as I said earlier, Paul's Con went on to win a really impressive maiden at Chipley a couple of weeks ago, beating a 303. So the form for that race, again, standing up and showing that Tom Barton should go near enough the distance anyway. And he's one I really like. And also got to mention Sing to Me. I mean, anything from the Whaley Cohen yard, you can't overlook, can you?
No, you can't overlook, because they always have their horses ready, raring to go.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't perhaps win or go the way they want to, because they have experience, they'll probably win the next day.
Yeah.
But you can't write them off at all.
No, that's exactly it. I mean, she ran a very odd race last time at Larkhill here, and she wears a hood, and she was back here in December and was travelling so well going down into the hill, and then all of a sudden just sort of the run really petered out. And you can understand for a mare running here, sort of first time out, can you understand why she maybe just gets tired suddenly, or do you reckon something could go wrong?
She is a presenting, so she might be one for the spring on better ground. Presenting's generally like better ground, and I know it is quite better ground here than it is other places this time of year, but it's still soft ground, and I could see her being a mare maybe for the spring round on good ground.
That's it, yeah. No, but on this race, for my selection, I'm actually going to go Tom Barton for this. I've changed my mind last minute there. I'm going Tom Barton instead of Swincombe Scorch here.
I'm definitely going to go Tom Barton as I'm riding him, and I think as long as the ground's better than it was the last day when he ran, I think he'll run very well.
Yeah, that's all right then.
I got the Ibster if he turns up.
And Suzie?
And I think I'll go Swingham Scorch over, because he rather impressed me last time.
Word with Suzie on the going for Sunday.
Going is currently good to soft in places, but we're expecting very heavy rain tomorrow. So I would say at very best it will be good to soft on Sunday, soft in places, but we will have to wait and see how much rain comes down.
That's it. And how do you feel they're going to go through it? Will it get worse? Will it deteriorate almost as the race goes on?
It may do, because there is drizzle, light rain forecast for Sunday as well.
That's it.
We just have to wait and hope that it misses us.
Well, thank you for that, Suzie. And that's about all we've got time for here on the Coronation Cup preview. Have to mention the fantastic trophy that we've been given to feature in this preview. And thank you so much to Graham Cotton, who has done all the embellishments and all the inscriptions in the plinth on the trophy. And he also owns part share in Benedictus, who won the trophy last year. So you have to be thankful for that. I have to thank all of my guests, for Stan, Andrew and Suzie. Thank you so much for joining us. And for all of those who can't be here on Sunday, you can follow the live action on Periscope just by following @PointToPointTV. And please do like and share us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, all of that. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to see you on Sunday. Thank you.